Well, St. X students, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Again, thanks for getting out of bed and being wide awake and alert for this informational session. We've got Jon Hughes from Speed School and a couple of his guests joining us this morning to kind of give us the lowdown on the opportunities available to you as students at Speed. I know a lot of you guys are juniors, but I see some sophomores in here as well. So that's pretty cool that you guys are thinking ahead like that. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jon and let him give you guys the info.
Yeah, hey, Dan, thank you so much for having us. I'm really happy to be here. St. X is a school that, of course, is very close to us in proximity, but also a school where we grab a lot of some of our incoming students from. And so we have a really great relationship. Always want to keep that up and maintain that. One of the things I realize every year is a lot of students, though they're great at math and science, they really do not know what engineering is, right? Or what that means. And one of the things I always talk to students about is you do not have to be great at both math and science. I always say you really don't have to like either one. Just always say pick one, right? Either like it or be great at it. If you're both, wonderful. But engineering is really the application of math and science, right? We really look to combine those things to improve upon bridges, mechanical mechanisms, and facilities, really just applying your thought. When students come to me and they say, man, I want to design, I want to build, and I always say, what? And they're like, I don't know. And I always like, that's perfect. I know you're an engineer, because a lot of times that what is really, you have so much interest and it's so different that it's hard to box yourself in to answer that question with just one word, right? Or one sentence. And that's how I was when I was growing up. And so for those who do not know me, I'm the director of admissions for the JV Speed School of Engineering. I am one of the people that will help you kind of lead through the admissions process. So as you have questions about how to apply, what is engineering? What do you offer there? What's the difference between you and other engineering schools like the University of Kentucky, Purdue's, the Stanfords of the world? That's what myself and also my team that's here. And so I'll quickly let my team introduce themselves as well. But like I said, I'm the director of Speed School Admissions. I am from a small little town called Nelson County, Kentucky. And that's Bardstown for those that are not country and don't identify yourselves with counties. And so I did go to U of L. So I have a lot of experience. I've been here now for 10 years. I'm old. Ugh, I don't know how to think about that. So I've spent another life at U of L. Brendan, would you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Sure. Thanks, Jon. Hi, everybody. My name is Brendan Stivers. I'm actually the Assistant Director of Admissions here at the University of Louisville. Like Jonathan, I started U of L in 2011 in undergraduate. I've been working for the university for about 6 years, but I've been at U of L for over 10 years now.
Tanner, you're muted, or you're not muted.
That's my move.
I'm good now. All right, my name's Tanner Fitticus. I am a graduate assistant now. I graduated last Saturday, actually, so I'm kind of new to this. I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm from Maysville, Kentucky, which is a little bit bigger than Nelson County, but not much. So, yeah, that's about it.
Louise?
Hello, my name is Luis Rodriguez. I'm a bioengineer, also doing pre-med, and I come from Georgetown, Kentucky. I'm also a junior in Louisville. So yeah, come from Scott County.
So Louise is also a YouTuber, everyone, by the way. Check the setup. So thank you all. And now I'm going to start out by showing a video just really for those who haven't been able to see Speed School of Engineering. I know a lot of you may have come and visit U of L, but not really seen engineering. So I'll show you a video. We're going to talk through engineering. So I do apologize for talking at you, making this feel like a classroom, but then we're going to get into a Q&A. And so that's why we're here to really answer the questions that you have after you learn a little bit more. So bear with me. I am going to share my screen. Everyone's seen a black screen? Perfect. a question.
How big of an impact do you want to make on the world? A degree from the JB Speed School of Engineering at the University of Louisville gives you the training, tools, and experience you need to realize your dreams in any engineering specialty. Your immersive education begins on day one with access to our state-of-the-art engineering garage. That hands-on learning continues every step of the way with access to the latest technology and more than a dozen interdisciplinary research centers where you can collaborate on game-changing projects. In addition to classwork on your chosen engineering discipline, Speed School co-ops and internships give you on-the-job experience, networking opportunities, and the chance to earn while you learn. All senior engineering majors complete a capstone project with fellow students and outside companies that puts into practice everything you've learned. The Speed School offers you a small college experience with all the amenities of a major metropolitan university. Engineering majors also have access to special options for financial aid, student housing, and academic and career services. We are a community of students, faculty, and staff who work hard, play hard, and excel at fostering innovation. When you come to the University of Louisville, you'll be part of a dynamic, diverse, and inclusive academic community where students from across the country and around the globe come to learn, explore, and create. Where world-class faculty and researchers work to educate, challenge, and inspire. Where a beautiful park-like campus welcomes you with the amenities you want and the convenience you need. Where numerous scholarship, financial aid, and work-study options make pursuing your degree more affordable, and where opportunities abound to build your resume, serve your community, and root for your favorite team. When you're ready to take a break from your studies, Louisville is ready for you with music, outdoor adventure, eclectic shopping, and great food. It's a vibrant, progressive city on the banks of the Ohio River that's easy to navigate on foot or by car, bicycle, and public transit. The metro area has a population of about 1 million people, yet maintains a friendly, small-town feel. Fulfill your dreams and impact the world with a degree from the Speed School of Engineering at the University of Louisville.
So that is a snippet of what Speed School is and has to offer. And I'm going to bring up my presentation as well, walk through. Oh, I need to do that. Sorry, I got to flip it. All right, can everyone see the presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Alex. So, as you saw the video, one of the things the video does is really captures a more superficial feel of Speed School, right? One of the things that myself and my team are here to do is to help you really dive deep into the details. I always like to start with the meat and potatoes. What does it take to get into Speed School? As juniors and sophomores, underclassmen, you really do have an opportunity to, one, hit those benchmarks early on in terms of the admissions criteria, right? And I always say it's very simple. 3.0 cumulative high school GPA being weighted or unweighted. We definitely encourage that weighted GPA, right? What I mean by that is take your AP, take your dual credit, take any of those advanced courses, right? College level courses you can. It is helpful. It really allows you to gain a better understanding of your core engineering courses, such as your math, chemistry, and physics. As in math, particularly your calculus, but definitely be sure you're grounded in your algebra. Just do not overlook your algebra and geometry. Those are significant to being successful in engineering. And then, of course, your chemistry and physics gives you background on the science areas that we're going to cover. But where you could do a lot of your damage in a good way is your general electives. A lot of our students, they do not want to take oral communications. They don't care about English, right, and psychologies and world history. Taking those courses as an advanced credit, IB, or dual credit, and you can really knock out a lot of those hours that you do not have to repeat at Speed School at U of L, okay? And so understand, I'm only talking to Speed School and U of L. I can't speak for other institutions and other colleges, But at U of L, we love when our students are coming in with those AP and dual credit courses. It really allows you to, first and foremost, lighten your load. And what I mean by that is you're not taking as many hours a semester as our typical engineering student that's coming in with less AP dual credit hours. Okay. So don't be afraid to take those courses to really get them out the way. Now, I will caution you that when it comes to your calculus, we will review how well you've done. We will make recommendations on where to begin because we do teach engineering analysis at speed school, and that is applied mathematics. So we apply physics with our mathematical problems. So it is a lot different than what you're going to experience in an AP type of environment. So do keep that in mind, that when it comes to your math and calculus, we will make recommendations. But other than that, take as much dual credit AP as you would like, and as feasibly possible. Now, when it comes to your SAT, ACT, we do encourage you to take that standardized test in some format. One, because yes, you see our admissions criteria here with the 3.0, 25 ACT composites required, or 3.5, 24. We also now have the test optional pathway. The reason why I say take an ACT or SAT is not just to gain admissions into speed school or just to college, but also a lot of your scholarships are going to be based upon your standardized test scores. Okay. So when you're thinking about applying, just not think about getting admitted into the schools, think about how you're going to earn dollars later on. All right. So I know, like, you're underclassmen, take your classes serious, right? Make sure your GPA is going to be strong, and make sure those PSATs and likes, take those serious as much as possible. They're going to help you, especially as you're taking the real thing. You know, I always tell students that U of L is known for giving out a lot of scholarship dollars. We also have our own departmental scholarships. And so we give out over $500,000-$600,000 a year just in incoming scholarships at Speed School. So we're always trying to help our students subsidize the cost of attending, no matter if you're a San X kid and you're local, right? A lot of our students want to stay on campus, and they're going to incur that cost of staying on campus. So getting additional scholarships can really help cut that down. So do keep that in mind when you're a senior, okay? So don't think about this December 15th now and are coming up. When you're a senior in high school, the December 15th deadline is going to be relevant to you for your scholarships, for departmental as well as mentor-based scholarships. And those are scholarships that are typically full tuition plus some sort of stipend, and they have a mentoring component with that. So do keep that in mind when you're going throughout that. Hey, so real quick, so Tanner's missed some. Tanner, are you seeing the bottom slides? You're not seeing my top slides?
I'm seeing what you were showing before you started the presentation. Like, we just see a corner of your.
You're seeing the
Like, we don't have
presentation
a-
view.
there-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
not
see
your full
that?
screen.
I gotta flip. So sorry. I'll flip it again.
Well, there's like a button on the top there. If you hit it, it'll flip it for you. You don't have to like go in and out.
My mechanical engineers teach me about computers. Boy, that's how good Speed School is. All right.
Virtual is great, let me tell you.
Let's see. I'll move you all down here. How's that?
That's better. It's
Yeah, that's
fixed.
good.
Voila. There you go. Sorry, everyone. I'm using an ultra wide, so they don't play nicely with screen sharing. So that's better. Hey, Dan, I saw you squinting, but I was just like, man, is this old age that we can't see as we get on?
Maybe.
No, it was on my screen. That's why I was like, hold on, something's not right. Now you can see this better. The other slide, you don't care, but this is important. So do apply for scholarships. I'm glad you mentioned this before we jump to this data slide. The reason why is literally almost 74 to 75% of our students are receiving some type of scholarship to come to Speed School. Our students are highly competitive. They're getting dollars to come, and that's going to play later on into really helping you make college affordable. There are a great deal of engineering schools out there. They're accredited by ABET, which is Accrediting Board for Engineering Technology. Dr. McHugh, of course, went to a great one there. But I always tell students that when you're looking at going to engineering college, you can go get a great degree from any of them. But really really think about the details that's going to make a difference. And for a lot of our students, and the reason why our profile of our students is so high, being ACT and GPA, is because we become very affordable. They don't have to pay a great deal of money to grab a great education. So our typical class size is about 500 to 600 students. All right, and so that's incoming freshmen, 500 to 600 incoming freshmen in engineering. And so we're not this massive engineering school to where you're going to come, you're going to get lost, you're only treated as a number. That is not speed school. That is something we pride ourselves on, as being a small engineering school. All of our faculty are full-time tenure track faculty members. I mentioned in our engineering fundamentals department, who teaches our calculus, that is the department that actually has some of our longest standing faculty members. Dr. Tyler has been there for 50 years, 50, 50 years teaching engineering calculus. And Dr. Ralston, who's the chair of the department, was taught by Dr. Tyler, who's also been there for over 25 years. And so these are faculty members that have been through engineering school. They're teaching your engineering calculus. They know who you are. They do care about your success. And so I always say, if you're looking to go away to college and just get lost, then do not come to speed school. It's not going to happen. We know who you are. We know your face. I know a lot of my students are coming in, and I keep up with them just to see how they're doing, how they're progressing through. And so that's very important to us. I did mention dual accreditation as in having an ABET accredited degree. One of the unique things about speed school is having dual accreditation. That means our bachelor's and master's are both accredited. So that literally, you can come to speed school, do your 4 years, complete your bachelor's of engineering degree there, graduate, take the FE, complete your PE, professional engineer. If you wanted to, you can go on for additional 5th year after your bachelor's degree, complete your ABET accredited master's degree as well. And so in a 5-year time span, you can literally complete 2 ABET accredited degrees, being a bachelor's and a master's. That is what Tanner is doing right now. Tanner, how easy was the application process?
All you gotta do is check a box. When you apply for graduation, it asks if you want to continue, or it asks your future plans, and all you have to do is tell them, and that's it. You have up until that last, basically right until you walk across the stage to decide. So you don't have to make your decision in your first year. You have all the way into that 4th year.
So it sounds crazy, but it's true. You literally check a box. Contingent upon you graduating in good standing, you check a box in your last semester of your undergraduate degree saying, I want to pursue my master's in engineering. That is your application. No GRE, no standardized tests. Check a box, graduate in good standing. That is how you are admitted into the program. And so we want to keep it very straightforward, because we know a lot of students still have their plans up in the air. A lot of our students are about to accept a job, or at least have a job offer on the table. So, we really want to keep that option open for them. They don't have to decide as soon as you come into speed school that you want to do a master's. Even if you're like Louise, who's going into a pre-med track, he still has time to decide if he's going to go bachelor's, master's, and then on to pre-med. And so that really gives our students time to build their resume and to really think about what is that next step they're going to take in the future. And having a master's degree is very beneficial. And I don't mean just coming out, graduating, getting more pay. That is not where the benefit comes in. It comes in later on when you want to move up in tiers, right, in levels of engineering, your knowledge of engineering. Some students like Louise, you'll probably do a thesis for your master's, the thesis option. Yeah, so he'll probably do the thesis option, since he's thinking med school. Will really help him with his research. And so you can do straight academic track, which Tanner's doing, just taking his classes, or you can do our other track, being the thesis, and complete a thesis with your master. So it's up to you. We do not care either which way. It really depends on what you're wanting to do for the future, but you'll have time. The next cool thing for us at Speed School is really helping our students understand what we offer. Within our 7 major departments, being bioengineering, chemical, civil, computer, electrical, industrial, and mechanical, and we'll talk about them more later, we have over 32 degree offerings. And so we have a lot of different pathways students can take within that. We tell students that you can come to speed school, select undecided engineering. That means you don't have to pick a major when you come in just yet. You could be undecided engineering, and you can learn about all the different types of engineering that we offer in our degree programs. One of those experiences that students get is being part of our engineering garage. That really allows them in their very first year to get hands-on with engineering. Louise was in our what we call ENGR 110 and 111. Those are our fundamental engineering courses. Louise, can you speak on those a little bit about what you did, what you gained from those?
Yes. So as John mentioned, an Engineering 110, which is your first fundamental course, and your fall of your freshman year. What we learned there, we learned, our graphics, learning how to draw in 2D dimensions into a three-dimensional aspect. We also learned a little bit of programming when it came to that, which was Pythons. So just a little bit of, a small step into the door. We also learned Excel. And if you think about it, Python's is computer, graphics is more like the mechanical side. And then you think of industrial with the Excel. So while we learned those in our fall semester, we also applied those into our spring semester with Engineering 111. So when we talked about the engineering garage, we applied the graphics into our 3D modeling program, which was SolidWorks. So we're using what we just learned and applied it. So we use learning how to use a 3D printer, and as you can see on the windmill, there's always a component missing, and we 3D printed. The professors don't tell you what you're making. You make it, you design it with a group of students, usually about 4. Then you learn, your electrical wiring, your programming again, you put in more applications into it. So we learn how to do Arduino, and which you use that to program the rotations of a laser to calculate that as it's spinning, how fast it's spinning, how much force can it put in the output. And so you're applying all of these hands-ons, and it was actually a great experience to have those hands-ons with a lot of students, because everybody was from a different background. Everybody had different ideas, and it was just good to collaborate, teamwork. We do emphasize here in Speed School teamwork, because in the world, you're going to see the working with different engineers from different backgrounds.
Thank you, Louise. So, as Louise pointed out, it's just really cool to learn what engineering is, getting a hands-on approach. Because a lot of schools talk about it, but they don't show you how you do that. And we like to show you that. And so Dr. McHugh and I think we're thinking about ways to do that too in the high school level, possibly feed over into our, engineering fundamental courses. So we love that idea, right? We definitely want to make sure you're ramping that up. Something really cool from where Louise came from in Scott County and Georgetown and ECS is, as high school students, they literally built solar panels to charge their computers after school. I thought that was really cool to learn about the process of developing solar panels, harnessing electrons and energy there as a high school student. And so it really sets the tone when you learn those kind of dynamics in high school and then carry over into college. And so that is the idea of the engineering garage, that we're going to teach you that, allow you to get hands-on with engineering. So by the time you reach your sophomore year, that is when your co-op will possibly start for you. For almost every student, they will begin their co-op the spring semester of their sophomore year. Bioengineers start a little later, but co-op for us is critical. This is probably about 50 or so of the 300 companies we work with on a given year. When students co-op, they are literally working for that company full time. So they are not taking classes. They may not even be in Kentucky. They may not even be in the United States. We have technically 4 different pathways under our co-op and career umbrella. You can co-op, which means you're going back to the same company, you're working and you're gaining that experience, and that experience is building. By the way, you are paid. On average, our students earn a little over $10,000 per co-op. That's a little over $34,000 total over the 3 co-ops. Internships are the same way, except when students are doing internships, they're usually going from company to company, right? They're wanting a different experience, which is totally fine. One of my students I was talking to this morning, Richard, he spent his time here at 2 local companies, and then he decided to do his 3rd co-op at Facebook, right? And so, which is really neat. He really enjoyed that. And so I have a lot of students gaining different experiences in many different places. Tanner did his co-op experience all at the same company. Tanner, where was you and what was you doing again?
I actually co-opted at CMTA in Prospect, Kentucky, so it might be familiar with you all. But we primarily do just any major building. We have to do all the insides of it, so all the HVAC, hydronics, plumbing, just anything that makes a building run. And what John was saying, we have those 4 different tracks. The reason I'll say Louisville recommends the 3 co-ops at the same company is just because, for example, I started out copying papers for like my entire first co-op. By the 3rd co-op, I was setting up the Louisville International Airport. So you can see there's kind of a major difference between the 1st and 3rd co-op, and that's just because the company doesn't really know what you're capable of that 1st co-op, but by the 3rd co-op, they have a pretty good understanding of your work by then.
That's a really great point. A lot of students want those kind of internships, different experiences, but there's a learning curve you have to get, right? Every time you go out and you seek out a new experience or a new place, that co-op allows you, going back to that same company, that experience is going to build, literally Tanner said it very well. He went from printing papers to literally building and laying out the airport. That was him, right? The things you see and how you move. That's really great and phenomenal. And of course you're getting paid, but more importantly, you're gaining real world engineering experience that you get to put on your resume when you go out there. And so that's critical. Our 3rd option is an option that students would, like Louise, would potentially seek out, which is research-based. So that will really help you in gaining those research hours, getting that kind of experience in that field. And then, of course, that 4th experience is a global experience. Within that global experience, you could literally do a study abroad, perfectly fine. You can study abroad in engineering. You can do that. A lot of students think you cannot. You can. But we recommend co-oping abroad. Right, going with one of our international companies, letting them pay you to come abroad. I have students that have worked in fellowships for medical hospitals. I have students that worked at Volkswagen. I have students that work for cybersecurity companies abroad. And so there's a lot of different aspects you can get in a lot of different fields. So do keep that in mind when you're looking at speed school and co-op. And because we require it, all of our students have to gain that experience, and we have to help them do so. Right? No, we do not hand you a slip to a Toyota or a slip to Tesla, on and on. You will interview, but we bring those companies down. You will have a co-op seminar to help you walk, talk, dress, literally build your resume. Those companies will interview on site, even in a virtual capacity, especially like during COVID. And so it's important that you get that work experience. We literally place 97% of our students within 3 months of graduation. 97. That is phenomenal. Our students are not only graduating, but they have jobs, they have careers. And so we pride ourselves on our co-op program. Like I said, it's good to earn money, over $30,000 in speed school, but more importantly, you're gaining experience that's going to make you employable afterwards. 72% of our students are offered a job from their co-op company. So that's really neat to know. You can walk across that stage with a job offer in hand. So do keep that in mind as you're thinking about your experience and what you're going to do as you look at engineering schools. Because we require, we literally build it in to our 4-year pathway. A lot of our students always ask us, well, I got to do 4 years of academic coursework and 3 co-ops. How long does that take? I say very simple, 4 years. You'll be able to do it all in 4 years. How do we do that? Easy. We take advantage of your summer semesters. And when I say easy, easy for us, not so easy for you all. I know a lot of students like their summers back. Our summers are abbreviated. They're not all summer long. So you will get a couple weeks around Derby, the week before Derby, the week after Derby. I know we're all here Louisvillians. We like our Derby, though the horse race this time around was a little smeared, whatever. I lost some money, but hey. Now, though, you will spend 10 weeks in school in that summer, but after that, you'll get another month off. And so you will get that summer break. You will get to enjoy the wonderful summer here that we have in Louisville, Kentucky, as you all know that we experience. It's phenomenal to be here in the summer. So you will have time off to go back and spend that time with family, friends. And a lot of students stay close to campus just because that's where their life and friends are, and which is perfectly fine. Like Tanner and Louise, they're here with me all the time. So that's perfectly fine. So if you're that kind of student, campus is still sprawling. You still have restaurants open. You still have housing available. You don't have to go live at home, though you can. So say if you just wanted to go that summer, like, hey, I'm going back home this summer, live with my parents. Cool, great. You can do that. But if you wanted to stay on campus, you sure can as well. So as you see that a spring semester, your first co-op, it rotates. In your junior year, your fall and summer will typically be spent co-oping. And then you go to year 4, that fall and spring, bachelor's of engineering, you're done. If you choose to do your master's, then voila. That's what it looks like, that summer, fall, spring, master's of engineering. Something that's really neat and cool about Speed School, and I mentioned it earlier, is affordability. Yes, you're earning money on co-op. So the 3 co-op semesters, you are earning money, but you're only paying for 1 credit hour plus the fee. Yes, I said that correctly. When you're co-oping that semester, you are not paying for full tuition. You are only paying for 1 credit hour, which right now is $499 plus the fee of $300. So your co-op semesters will only cost you about $800 a semester. You're going to make over $34,000. So if you do the math and just say clean numbers, your co-op will cost you all 3 about $3,000. You're going to earn over $34,000. That's nice. That's a good deal. Usually that's where like people are clapping and cheering and you see all the blah, blah. No, I always tell people though, it's fun to know that you can come get a great degree and not spend a bunch of money, and 50% of our students graduate debt free. Right. And a lot of my students, especially locally in state, are part of that population where they're graduating debt free because they're earning over $30,000 on top of scholarships, right? On top of their Keys money, on top of any state and federal grant aid that they're receiving. And so that's the really nice thing about Speed School is you're still eligible to receive all of your scholarship offers. So if you're GSP, GSA, if you're receiving a university trustee scholarship or mentored scholarships, you will still be able to earn those and your Keys money and your co-op earnings. That's a lot of money. So yeah, you can literally earn money while in Speed School, which is really nice. So do keep that in mind. I know you're just sophomore and juniors, but as you're getting more into your senior year, that is when you come out of the conversation with people like myself and my team. And we will literally walk you through your financial aid package and what that looks like. And so we're happy to have those conversations when that time comes, so you know exactly what U of L and Speed School will cost you and exactly what you're going to get in return for your scholarships and co-op earnings and the likes. So do keep that in mind. I definitely want to make sure I leave some time for questions. So I'll move through the latter part here rather quickly. And it's just a degree discussion. But like I said earlier, our big 7 departments are bioengineering, chemical, civil, computer, electrical, industrial, and mechanical. In bioengineering, I always say the big 4 is very simple: prosthetics, medical devices, research, and of course, a springboard to med school. And that is what a lot of our students like Louise, though it's a good to have a plan B, get it bioengineering plan B, and you go out to industry and work. But it's also great to know that our bioengineering program is pre-med track, and it's actually pre. So you do pre-med, pre-dent, pre-physical therapy, pre-veterinarian, and use this platform. Technically, you can use any of our engineering degrees to do so, but bioengineering fits very, very well for that. And so you can definitely leverage our bioengineering program to learn all of your biology that you need, your anatomy, but then apply on to med school or not. Go work with Boston Scientific, Cook Medical, right, Johnson & Johnson. And you can really get those experiences without ever having to touch another academic institution again. Our chemical engineering programs are material science. You're really thinking about, like you see here, pharmaceuticals, food, plastics, coating, semiconductors. The other big one, of course, is petroleum, natural gas, and oil. Being from Nelson County and Bardstown, Kentucky, we're known for something. It's called bourbon. I know you all know nothing about that at all, but bourbon is something that your parents and adults drink. It's a $1 billion industry. A lot of our students go on to be master distillers. And so they're really working in the bourbon and spirit industry, and really helping to develop and formulate like kind of mass production of just not a pill, but million iterations of those pills, or not just the vaccine, but million iterations of said vaccine. And so that is how you think about chemical engineering, is the idea of scaling up and down. Civil environmental engineering is just that. When you think about it, it's highways, bridges, transportation, signage. You're still getting that I always say that old school feel of building, because we'd cover that structural component. But for us in environmental, we cover waste disposal, clean water well initiatives. One of my graduates, she works for the Army Corps of Engineers. She cleans up bomb sites. So yes, that's a thing. And so when you're talking about waste disposal, so do keep that in mind if you like to be out there in the elements. Civil engineering is for you. Computer science and engineering, hardware, software, programming. Think about all your programming languages we cover, from Louise mentioned Python earlier, C#, HTML, JavaScript. So we cover a lot of the languages. Someone once asked me, okay, what's the one language I cover? I said, that's unfortunate if you're only learning one language, right? That is not computer science and engineering. Multiple companies uses different languages, and you have to be versed. That's what makes you a computer engineer. And so for us, we're going to also learn that software development and hardware development. When we start getting into like open sourcing, Linux and whatnot, networking, that's when we move more into electrical because of that power component of that. But we do our large scale robotics there that you're going to see. We have our drone technology. We'll get into computation, automation, power generation. So think about grids that power cities. And so that's where electrical comes in. Of course, industrial engineering is about efficiency and effectiveness. Tanner's older sister's a graduate speed school industrial engineer, a phenomenal industrial engineer, works for one of our big pharma companies helping with distribution there. And so think about distribution, how important that is. Just hypothetically speaking, you're thinking about vaccines. It's great that we have a vaccine, but if you cannot get it to people, right? If you cannot get it in people's arms, how great is that vaccine? All right. And so not only is it great to make a vaccine and to then mass produce that vaccine, but now we have to distribute that vaccine. And for instance, vaccines, some of them have to be kept at certain temperatures. So they have to be transported in certain ways over certain times and how they're delivered. And so think about that. That's what industrial engineers do with logistics and time, and just time management, supply chain management. That is their focus and how they apply mathematics. And then of course, mechanical, biggest, broadest, most popular field of engineering. If it moves, it's mechanical engineering. Tanner, how do you see mechanical engineering?
I always use the same analogy you do. If it moves, it's mechanical. So that goes anywhere from automotive to aerospace to even HVAC, which is a lot of people always ask, like, what's moving? You're having to bring in air and move it around the building. That way you're comfortable. Because if not, you'd just be burning up in a like hot box, so that wouldn't be much fun. So yeah, basically any like minor, major aspect mechanical engineers have to cover, just because it usually involves all other majors. So all the computer, all the electrical, you're gonna have different components in these systems. So yeah.
Thank you. And of course, one of the last things I always like to end on is student involvement. If all you ever did when you if you came to speed school was go to class, you'll be bored. You wouldn't be happy. We tell our students literally, you're going to spend at best about 4 hours in a classroom a day. Your classes just do not consume as much of your time as they do in high school. It's just not the way it goes. You'll do a lot of your studying and write a lot of your prep. A lot of those things happen outside the classroom in formal ways, like with your study groups, right? And with your organizations. That's why we tell students that get involved with the student organizations that are on campus, get involved with student organizations that are at Speed School. We have over 50 plus organizations on Speed School side of campus, being our NASA competition rocket team. Yes, we have a rocket team that competes in NASA's competition. Yes, we win. And I mean, when we last place, third place in overall design. So we're pretty decent. They're always there in the cages working on them. join our Baja Form 1 racing team, join our Derby Hacks team. We have concrete canoe and steel bridge building. We have Red Bar Robotics. We have our own like fraternity and sorority for engineering. We have an engineering living learning community. So literally, if you want to eat, breathe, sleep, chem, cal, physics with 200 plus other students like yourself, you can. It's possible. So we have so much going on and so much to offer to our incoming students. That is something that we do not want you to not be a part of, right? Come to speed school, have fun, right? Literally have fun. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Nothing's easy. Engineering is not easy, but you can have fun while you're doing it and really get great experiences. And so I wanted to leave the last 15 minutes or so for questions. So I'll jump out of the share view. And so we'll open the floor up for students that have questions. Oh, Leo has a hand raised already. I saw Leo's hand first, so Leo, we'll go with you. Also, feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat function as well. I didn't mention it earlier, but we're all reviewing that. But go ahead, Leo.
So is the co-op like, do you take classes in the first semester and then your second semester of that year you do the co-op? Is that how that works?
So you're talking about your sophomore year, that year that you do your co-op?
Yes, sir.
So when you're looking at your sophomore year, you're correct. You will that fall semester take classes. Part of that fall semester is a co-op seminar. And that's earlier when I was talking about you're getting the necessary preparation. You get to interview with companies. That is actually where that happens. So you will take courses leading up to that semester. And then once that semester ends, which is December, typically speaking, around the 3rd or the 4th, that you do your finals week. In January, you'll be starting with your co-op company. So it could be local, as Tanner mentioned, or it could be farther away. So you will have to work with our co-op office to make sure you secure housing, make sure you have those necessary components lined up. And it's different too. What I say for students is if you're local, if you're a little farther away, COVID presented some challenges for students. Earlier I mentioned Richard Wilson. He actually was going to go to Tesla in California. That's where his third co-op was going to be. He ended up doing Facebook because he did not want to be out in California alone during COVID with no one he knew. And so he ended up declining that offer and accepting Facebook and doing a virtual co-op with them that semester. So he was actually still home doing a co-op. Good question, Leo. Alex?
I think in the past, I've done something in the summer where I got to go down and I guess tour the speed school or look around. Do you know if they're doing something along that sort this year?
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, Brendan, can you talk a little bit more about our options of visiting?
Yeah, of course. So currently right now we're hosting visits on Mondays and Fridays in person and then Wednesdays virtually. We understand, virtually some people, especially for our outer state folks, that's the easiest way for them to get an insight into our engineering school. However, the best part about engineering is actually the campus itself. So we are still doing tours on Mondays and Fridays, but if by chance you have class those days or another day just works best for you, always feel free to reach out to Jonathan, myself, or Tanner, and we'll get a special tour set up for you where you'll come in, sit down, we'll have a one-on-one chat together. Just to answer any questions that you might have along the way or something that's specific to you. And then we'll have one of our students give you a tour. Right now, we actually have our students across almost every major. So we can also match you with your major, right? If you're interested in chemical engineer, having a chemical engineer give you a tour. That way you get that one-on-one insight, right? If you want a pre-med track, we got Louise here, mechanical engineer. You can have Tanner if you want them. We got other options for mechanical stuff. But it is one of those things that we do try to match you with your majors so that way you get the direct focus on what you want to do and what your insights might be.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Alberto?
Do you guys have an aerospace engineering program?
Yeah, good question, Alberto. So we used to actually house and still do what we call under mechanical. We house aerospace under mechanical. Our mechanical engineering department is actually undergoing a aerospace track. So they're actually in the midst of developing an aerospace track for fall of 2022. So I don't know what year you are, but you're not a senior. If you was a senior, you'll still be eligible to you. But by the time you are a senior, we will have an aerospace track under our mechanical umbrella that you could pursue.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. While there's other, feel free to definitely raise your hand or just unmute yourself as you have questions. I did drop my information in the chat, so you have my email. You also have my personal cell phone number. And so do not hesitate to ever reach out to me as time goes on, as you have questions. And especially as you're reaching out, Brendan mentioned, if you do want to come down, just get that one-on-one, what we kind of call a shadow experience. You can get that experience with our students and with us. We're always happy to accommodate you on campus. We're also, you will see us back out at St. X as the year goes on too. So this won't be the one and only time. And I know you're young and you're learning a lot more about engineering, but as you have questions throughout your next couple of years, reach out to us anytime for sure. So what other questions do you all have? There is no such thing as a stupid, crazy, wild question. We get those all the time. We're wild and crazy and a little off the wall. So feel free to ask any questions that you have. Yes, Connor.
So he kind of mentioned about aerospace. What about aeronautical?
So that same track and pathway will cover both of those dynamics under that mechanical track. So it will be an aerospace / aeronautical engineering track under mechanical. And so, so this is something I always ask students like yourself, what actually do you want to do with aerospace and aeronautical engineering?
For like aerospace, for me, I love just like airplanes in general. Mm-hmm. And then like aeronautical, I've always loved boats like my entire life. So kind of just that type of stuff, like how they work and why like displacing water and how like their holes are specifically designed and stuff like that. I've always been curious in that type of stuff. So
yeah, no, for sure. It's good. So one of the things why we've always kept our degree programs and just our majors more broad is for students, literally just like you said, and like you mentioned, is you have multiple interests that could take you various ways. And so if you will be able to come to speed school, do your track, which is great, but you'll still have that ability to have a broader degree, because what happens if your big four aerospace companies aren't hiring? For instance, during the pandemic, when Boeing laid off half their workforce, all right, what do you do then? Where do you go? All right, how do you rebrand yourself? For our students, we always tell them that with your degree, you've already rebranded. You can transition from an aerospace company to a automotive company, right, to a HVAC company, all right, to a semiconductor company. All right. That's why having broad degrees for us has always been beneficial, because when students do fall within like a slither of just aeronautical or aerospace engineering, they really lose the ability to navigate. And not that you definitely can get out of there and brand yourself differently, but they really do lose that ability to think more broadly about their degree. We have students that have mechanical engineering degrees that work in various facets of aerospace and aeronautical engineering. We have students at Boeing, Gulfstream, so we have students at SpaceX. And literally my students from SpaceX actually came from Tesla. So think about that transition, which wasn't really that hard because of that broad mechanical degree. My last 4 hires at NASA over the last 4 years wasn't anything to do with mechanical, aeronautical, or aerospace engineering in any way. They were actually electrical and computer engineers, because they was dealing with computation and programming. And so when I talk to students about what it is in that field that you want to do think about what you want to do. Talk to those engineering schools, talk to programs about how can what you offer fit what I want to do, right? And so keep that in mind. Something that we're bringing on at U of L this year, fall 2021, is a Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. And that degree is more broad. It allows our students to get a programming degree, but allows them to bring in other majors, right? Other focuses, being political science, social justice, being graphic design, business, right? Because we want students to be engineers, but be more broad in their engineering. One of the biggest kind of organizations we have on our campus is esports. And a lot of our computer science kids are in esports, and they want to go on to work in the gaming industry. And a lot of computer science programs do not teach that well enough. And so, keep that broad aspect in mind, but definitely ask those schools, even us, like, how can your degrees fit what I'm trying to do? And if we can't do that, look elsewhere, right? Like, you literally have great programs located around you in engineering that fits those needs. So keep that up. Alberto, I think I saw your hand again. I don't know if you still had a follow-up question.
No, you answered it.
Hey, John, I'll add one thing as well as far as aerospace aeronautical is having that River City rocketry team. Who do you think's at those competitions? You're going to have NASA, you're going to have SpaceX, Blue Origin, they're all there. So all you have to do is go network, get your name out there. So if that's what you're looking to do, there's also that opportunity as well.
Yeah, really, really great point. Ethan?
Engineering wise, are we going to be working with like Arduino and those types of components?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. You will be able to work with those Arduino, other types of components. I said this earlier, is like when we think about engineering, we just try to not teach you one thing or what's popular now, like Revit, certain other kind of software programs and skills, and just Google Sketch, these different just skill sets that you need. We know companies are always changing or in flux. So you definitely want to make sure what we're teaching you and the kind of facilities and components that you're getting are going to provide that too. So we definitely want you to, yes, for sure, get a more broader understanding, but we also got to be relevant, right? Engineering isn't about what's happening right now, right? It's about what's happening 10, 20 years from now. And so we always got to be on the cutting edge of what's new and what's coming out. And so, yes, you're definitely get those components taught as part of your degree.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Connor, sorry, I don't know if you still have your hand raised up. You have another question, but feel free.
Oh, my bad. No, I don't.
Oh, no, all good then. Make sure I'm not missing anyone's questions. Any other questions that you all have? Yeah, Gary.
So how do the living arrangements work? Do you live with people that work in the same, like the speed school only, or are you part of the whole campus?
Oh, great question. So at Speed School of Engineering, you have various opportunities in terms of housing. We just brought on a phase 1 and phase 2 of new housing on campus. So you can live with general students, right? You can live in the general housing with general students. If you want a more broad, well-rounded experience, that's perfectly fine. We also have the engineering LLC where you can live with other incoming engineers. We have the honors residence hall where you can live with students who are from other majors, but also honors students. So your higher achieving students. So you can live with them. So we have a lot of different themed housing. So if you're a student athlete, you can have certain housing there. If you have, say if you're a Brown Fellow or Gromeyer or a McConnell Scholar, they have housing for those students. So you can live, you can literally choose the type of housing option that fits you best. Because a lot of you are local, you can do the exemption as well if you do not want to live on campus. That's definitely an option. You will have to fill out a form. But that is something, that you can do. We always encourage you to live on campus, to get that feel, to be a part of the community. But you do not have to live on a campus, of course. You can do the exemption. But we have a lot of different housing options. We have traditional housing. We have traditionals like you live on the same floor, you share kind of a common restroom, though the restrooms now are individualized. So you actually do not share a restroom. You can lock it, it's yours, they're solo. You have your suite style, which means you have you and your roommate and you share the restroom with the group next to you, the suite next to you. or you have the apartment style, which is yours, right? Or yours and your friends or whoever like you're rooming with. I think, Louise, are you in an apartment style housing unit right now?
Yes.
Where are you on one of the affiliates or in one of the affiliates?
I'm pretty sure it's affiliated. It's called the Marshall.
The Marshall. So we have on-campus housing, then what we call affiliate. So it's housing around campus like the Marshall, where it's all for students as well, but it's managed by outside parties, not our housing, but it's still for students that are at U of L. So we have a lot of different housing options for you, Gary. So if you have a friend or a roommate or know someone you want to room with when you get to U of L, you can definitely do that no matter if they're in speed school or not. That's for sure a possibility. Carson, I see that you have your hand raised.
I was just wondering what course I would take, like if I wanted to get into food processing.
Ooh, so for someone like you that's interested in food processing or just food in general, chemical engineering is your pathway, right? And we actually have courses for you that you can take for particular, like just materials processing, food, getting to certain components of what you're trying to, if it's regulation, right? Because it's just not developing of food, but how you develop, within regulatory bodies. And so that is definitely a wheelhouse. I think chemical engineering will be right up it. I think that would be really fun for you. Chemical engineering is a niche field, and it's for students like yourself who have a niche within that. Like earlier, I was talking about distillery, right, and bourbon and spirits, food, natural gas and oil. And when you really boil it down to it, it's really more about that kind of compounds, molecular, that cellular component, right? And that's where you're going with chemical engineering. And so I think you'll really enjoy that. And you're in the city of Louisville. I don't know if you all know this, but Louisville is like one of the top 7 foodie cities in the world. So it's pretty cool that way. Here in the United States, per like capita, we have some of the most like independent restaurants. So it's really great. I think you're in a great city to learn about that process, just food in general, but learn the development, the regulation and regulatoriness of food. So, I love to eat. So you got my vote. I don't know, Ethan or Gary, your hands are still up, but if you have questions, feel free to ask for sure. Any other questions out there? Yeah, Alberto, go ahead.
About the test optional. So let's say if I don't do so hot on the SAT or ACT, but I have a high GPA, would that exempt me from getting into speed school, or what would be the scenario with that?
No, not at all. I mean, that's honestly why we have test optional. When we talk about test optional, it's for students. It's not that we don't care how you, or the reason why you choose to go test optional, but in all honesty, some students, the past year, they haven't had good access to standardized testing. Some of our students are just not good test takers, right? They have great stellar GPAs, but they just don't have the necessary test scores to back that up. But it doesn't mean they would not be good engineers or admissible to speed school. So no matter if you took the ACT or SAT, you can actually apply and not have your scores counted right against you or for you. You can still take the test and still apply test optional, which means we would not use your test scores in the review process. We look at your GPA, we'll look at any essays, your resume, right? We'll look at your transcript rigors of the courses you've completed, if you're taking any AP or dual credit courses. And so we'll look at those things to make the decision rather than an ACT or SAT.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, 2 minutes. Dr. McHugh, any questions for us?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, you guys have provided a heck of a lot of good information this morning.
Thank you. I know it's early. Sorry for all the information so early.
Oh, it's all good.
I just want to say, really, thank you all for having us. How I always like to end is with Tanner and Louise. I always say, give your last little bit of advice, if you was talking to yourself again, when you was a sophomore or junior, what advice would you give yourself? What advice would you give this group of students?
I guess we'll go age over beauty. I'll let Luis go second. So I always say make friends. Don't be afraid to get yourself out there just because you're all in the same boat. No, I mean, you're going to know some people just because you are all in Louisville. But me coming from Maysville, I didn't really know that many people. So just get yourself out there and make some friends, because all in all, that's who you're going to be studying with. The professors can only teach you so much in 50 minutes. So a lot of your learning is going to come from bouncing ideas back and forth between your friends.
Yeah, what I would have told myself, as an incoming freshman, don't be afraid to ask questions to your professors, because they're there to help you. And I remember when I first asked, I was very, nervous. But when I asked, the professor was there to help me all the time. I remember just going to the office hours, and they're like, hey, I can help you, da-da-da-da, answered all my questions. And, if I would have done that, more often than when I was a freshman at the beginning of the fall, I feel like, I would have gotten all my answers instead of struggling out there, just, spending, time trying to figure out the questions. And, that's one advice I would tell you all is just ask questions. And there's no, wrong questions to ask. I mean, we're talking about calculus, all those courses that we're taking. There's always going to be questions.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you, Tanner. The last thing I would say is, especially when you're young, is don't be afraid to make mistakes, try some things. I think a lot of my engineers who come in feel like they have to be perfect. That's not true. You don't have to know how to program to go into computer science and engineering, right? You don't have to know how to build a bot to be electrical mechanical. If you have a passion for it, don't be afraid to pursue it, no matter if it's your scores or your whatever's. Have a conversation with us, right? The people here at Speed School. We went out to Maysville and found Tanner. I went out to Scott County and found Louise. And I say found them because they wasn't. Luis told me he wasn't coming to Speed School. He didn't know anything about Speed School. And Speed School's in your backyard. And I bet there's a half of you on this call that didn't know this much about Speed School and what we had to offer. And so I always tell you, sometimes, you have these well-kept secrets in your backyard. Come check us out for yourself, right? This is not a basketball or football game. It's not a competition among you're a fan of whoever. We don't care about your allegiance towards sports teams or none of that. We care about your education and your success. So if we can help you with that, let us. That's always my advice. Let us see if we can help you. If not, I'm country. I'll tell you the truth. But at the end of the day, you can always reach out to me, Amber, and we put our personal cell phones in there. I truly love working with SunX kids. You all are really good students, and continue to be that way. Continue to use us as your resource. Dr. McHugh, he's been so gracious enough to let me into his space virtually. I know he's going to be gracious enough to let me into his classrooms once we can get back in person. So I'm looking forward to actually getting to meet you all in person. I'm so excited. I hope this has been helpful. Dan, thank you so much for having us. I can't thank you enough. It's been fun.
You're very welcome. Thank you to you, John, Tanner, Luis, Brendan, for all showing up this morning. Can't thank you enough. I think it's been really helpful. I think hopefully a lot of these students are going to give Speed School a good, honest look. Like you said, I think a lot of students and sometimes even parents overlook the good thing they have right here in their backyard. So again, thank you so much. And please, students, if you do have additional questions, don't be afraid to reach out to them. They have the contact info there in the chat area. And if you need me to help you organize something, students, please let me know. I'm happy to kind of steer you in the right direction. So I'd say we can call it good. Thank you again for everybody for showing up this morning. I'll see y'all later.
See you soon.
Thank
Thank you all.
Take care, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.